Hello, beautiful ladies. Happy Thursday. I am so excited to be here. Today we have a very special guest that I'm really excited to bring on. She is going to talk about everything when it comes to sharing your story. Now, this is such a personal, powerful subject of mine because this is something that completely changed my life and completely changed my experience. For me, my story was something that I hid from the world for a really long time. My upbringing was extremely traumatic. There was a lot of abuse and neglect. I was actually abandoned by my father at birth. And this is something that I didn't share for many years. I think a lot of times when we have a story, and it can be something that came from your childhood, it can be something that came, later on in life, whatever that is, that experience that you've had, it is your story. And it can be something that you choose to share or you choose not to share. But I have to say, from personal experience, by me sharing my story with the world, I was able to connect with more people and I was able to support more people. And for me, that was life changing. I think a lot of times growing up, we are taught to be quiet. We're taught to have shame. We're taught that we're sort of the only one that has gone through something. And I believe that by sharing our story, first with ourselves, by recognizing the truth that we've experienced, and also sharing with others, whether that's people in your family, your friends, your children, or even the world, it gives us so much more freedom and it gives us so much more connectivity to say, you know what, a lot of people are going through these things. I was abandoned at birth, but guess what? I'm not the only one. I was abused by my mother and my stepfather, but again, I'm not the only one. So for me, by recognizing that this was the experience that I had and recognizing that I could actually help and support people by sharing my story, it was a complete game changer. So today we are going to talk to the beautiful Simone. And she is going to tell us all about sharing our story. Again, this is something that has to come, if you choose to, in your own time. So we are in no way pushing for you to share information before you're ready. But we want to talk about the possibilities of owning who you are, owning what you've gone through, owning what you are going through right now, and how that can impact the world. So hello, Simone.
Hi, hello everyone. So happy to be here. Thank you, Riley, for the invitation and to start talking things that you can find me talking everywhere on social media. And I'm very new to Peanut app. And I just started exploring this week, and this is the perfect place to start practicing. And I know many of you probably have done or have started interacting with other moms, with women sharing their stories. So I'm really happy here to talk about how can we grow and connect and impact. My goal it's like it's not only thinking about us, but how much we can impact other people on when we start sharing things that we go through.
Yes, I absolutely love that. And I think the most important part here is how we impact other people. Again, as I said, for me, sharing my story was a part of my transition into supporting other people because for a long time I was quiet about the abuse that happened to me. I was so afraid that people were going to judge me. I was so afraid that um, that I would make my parents look bad. And so I kept a lot of the things that happened to me very private. Again, I don't think that everyone needs to share their story with the world, but when you do connect with certain people that you feel comfortable with on this level of being able to show compassion and empathy and say, hey, I've gone through this. It is such a powerful tool that we have, especially in today's day. So I want to ask you a few questions here.
Sure.
The first one is, why is it important to share personal experiences and stories? Why is this important for us to do?
I think the most important part is, I just mentioned, because someone else is going through the things. And when we share something that we are going through, we create this connection, this empathy that is outside our own control. And we don't have any idea how much someone might be need to hear just that, just something that you're sharing today. They say, oh my gosh, I needed to hear this, or I needed to listen this, or then going back, and connecting with you and ask you to share more, because that's how we start. You share where you're comfortable sharing. That's just what Riley said right now. You don't start, like an open book, and you find the right place to start sharing, because some things that you want to share is very personal, but you can start sharing silly things or important things that can bring our awareness to other people, experiences as a mom. My first real experience with story that was so important and open um, this whole new world to me, that I just realized later on in life how much that affected me, was like 15 years ago, when we didn't have Facebook and Instagram, and was like, now it's easier to connect and find communities and group, but we had forums before, moms forum and stuff. And I had just gone through like ectopic pregnancy. There wasn't even like a different, like a personal story. I was just trying to find answers and things to connect at the moment that I couldn't find with my friends and family, because I was struggling to the experience that I never lived before. I was like, what is happening? What comes next? Because I went through a very traumatic experience. I went through emergency. I had my tube removed. I was like a close call experience. And I'm like, can I still have children? Can I still be pregnant? And I couldn't find this answer until I found a story similar to mine. And once I read the story, and I was able to connect, and I was able to bring peace to me and hope that I didn't find anywhere else, because nobody knew that experience. I just knew the facts, what happened. But once you find someone else that have the similar experience to you find this connection, you find hope, and then you bring peace to you, or you bring inspiration to what to do next, or how to live. So I feel so, like, the moment I read the story, like my life and my perspective, passing that point, changed so much, that was so much needed. So that's, I encourage everyone, like, to share little things that sometimes you're just going through. There was like a kind of like a medical experience, but like sometimes it's just personal. You're struggling something in a relationship, you're struggling on something, with your kids. So we always find a little place that you can share and start bringing this peace, the inspiration that you need for the moment.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I totally agree. I mean, this is one of the reasons why Peanut became such a phenomenon. It's because it's a safe space for women to come and get that support, share their experiences, ask questions. For those of you who are in the sex and relationships group that I have here on Peanut, I'm constantly reading your stories about your relationships, what's happening to you. And some of these, posts, they get 50 comments of other women saying, I have experienced this, I have gone through this. And I think, as you said, it gives yourself a lot of peace and it gives other people inspiration. And I love that. And I think that's definitely one of the benefits of living in the modern day world. We have this ability to connect. As you said before, before Facebook, I'm 35 years old. I also grew up without Facebook and social media and things like that. So we didn't really have anyone to connect to. It was just, your immediate family, and then friends, and then people, in your community. But there was no way that I was going to connect to someone in China or in Europe, because I didn't have that access. And so now it's such a beautiful concept of the modern day world that we can share our experiences with people all over the world and impact those people in whatever way that we can. And sharing our story is such a beautiful way to allow people to feel like, you know what, you're not alone. And you know what, you're not crazy. You're not crazy for thinking that. You're not crazy for experiencing that. Lots of people have gone through that, and you're absolutely right. My second question is, in your experience, how have you seen the act of sharing personal stories create a sense of community and support among moms? So, when we're talking about moms specifically, what have you seen?
This is I kind of mix probably the answer with the first question. That when you see somebody else going through the first experience, like when you share about moms, and I just starting this year this conversation with moms that I'm doing online, and I created a podcast on YouTube, and it's amazing when you start listening to the story, when you have this visual also that you can connect visually with the mom story, mom telling stories, um, how we see ourselves on all these different stories of moms. Like in moms, they have so much stories. Um, that they go through resilience, love, strength that nobody understand until you become a mom. Like as a women, we already go through so much to show ourselves to the world. I just last night I went to watch Barbie, and it's a little like weird movie overall, I would say, but it's a beautiful, beautiful message about women in the world. And then when we become a mom, I was with my second child, so just a little thing here, a little uh, pause here. I did have two children after my ectopic pregnancy. My son is 12, my daughter is 8. So when my daughter was just a few days old, I had my nephew over, and then I went to drive him to the airport. And there was all this old thought that, women after children cannot drive, cannot do this, cannot do that. But once you are inside of the world, and when you are inside of this um, experience, you see how much stronger you are. And it's like, you don't know until you become. And when we share this, you see that there's a whole community, there's this whole thing as a mom. I'm a family of women. I have 4 sisters, plus my mom. And I have many nieces, and many already, like, I have I'm a great aunt. So, when you get together to talk and we share this experience, we see how much as we can see our experience on these other women. And that's how community and finding this space and having this place right here at Peanut that is so specific, so strong from moms and women, so important. That's how we find ourselves, and we encourage and support moms. So, and there's no way you can just come here and make fake stories, fake experiences, and have this real connection. You have to really share what you're going through, and that's how it brings community together and support. Just this morning, I read here a message: I'm a new single mom. I'm not ready to uh, I didn't think to going through this alone. So I just share with her that don't be afraid to ask for help. With women and moms, sometimes we think we can do everything ourselves, but we need to learn to ask for help. So I suggested her go for a walk with your baby, her baby 6 months old, to a playground. You're gonna find other moms. Start a conversation. Start sharing something. You find your community. Once you start talking, there are other moms looking for help, looking to help, and looking for more places to connect, because we always hear all the time, where's the community, where's the help, where this village. We have to build the village. The village not gonna come to us. This is different when we had our grandparents. The village will not gonna come to us. There's so many things online. We have to look the right place where the the type, like, our kind of moms, because it's our different kind of moms. They're different community of moms. So we have to find our right one where we can be more ourselves, more open, and share, more authentically what we want to share.
Simone, this is why I love you. This is why I love you. You said it perfectly. The village is not going to come. And I think this is something that is so important for people to understand. As we move it into this more modern day world, it is so important to understand that we have more freedom than ever to choose. We have more freedom than ever to create, but we have to understand that if we want something, we have to create it. Because the same as when I talk about with relationships, You are not going to fall in love with someone and then poof, you have a thriving relationship. You have to actually create it step by step, because the things that we want in relationships now, like compassion, compromise, negotiation, all these things that we didn't necessarily have in the past. In the past, relationships were a little bit more transactional. You're the husband, I'm the wife, we're going to have kids, we're going to get married. Now it's like, I want you to be my best friend and read poetry together and travel together and do all of these crazy things. You can have this kind of relationship, but you have to create it. It's not just going to poof come. And the same thing for the village. Absolutely 100%. It's not that people are staying in their town as they used to. Everyone is in the same shop working, and everyone, is there, and the family is as strong as it used to be. People are moving all over the country, they're moving all over the world, things are happening, people, have different lifestyles. And so it is very, very important for us to create that community. And I absolutely love that you said that. My next question is, what advice do you have for moms who may feel hesitant or apprehensive about sharing their personal experiences with others?
Um, when when we are afraid to share something, we are thinking about ourselves. We think, oh, I'm afraid, or what people gonna like the way you started this conversation, afraid of how people gonna judge you, how people gonna perceive your story. But we need to think, how can we help someone when we share something? How someone might need to hear just that you're sharing today. Just oh, like let's as a mom, let's say something silly. How I want to stop breastfeeding, or I don't feel like something really like conflictive. I don't like breastfeeding my kid. What should I do? Like something like that. Just say something silly. We think, oh, well, people are gonna think I'm a bad mom. Like how are gonna say I don't like breastfeeding my kid? And when we share that, you're gonna see more moms feel the same way, and how they navigated that, because there are choices, and they're not bad choices. Um, I breastfed my kids and I loved it. But I know moms that chose not to from the beginning. And they're not bad moms. They wanted to feel about the body in a certain way that, my personal opinion, they missed out. But still you have this connection. You're still gonna be with your kid. You're gonna be feeding your kid with a bottle. He's gonna be looking at you. You're gonna be holding your hand. You're gonna have this direct connection. So when you share that, you create that, you thinking about the other person is going to say, oh my gosh, thank goodness I'm not alone. That's all we need to hear, I'm not alone. Because you think, oh, it's just me. I have my best friend, she's like, Simone, I'm not like you. I love my kid, I love her so very much, but I don't love being a mom. Like I'm not, like it's not like you love your mom, it's like it's part of you. But like I'm a mom, I enjoy. I go there. We do play things like, I'm enjoying seeing her grow, but it's not something that I am a mom like it. And I feel so trusted that she shared this with me. And I know there are other moms. One day I want to get her to talk to me about that and have a conversation where I can share with more people, because that's how you feel more connection. But she's not ready yet. But that's how we start. You start whatever you feel more comfortable saying. So what I tell people, how can I talk, or what can you talk when you want to start sharing some personal things? Think about you going on an airplane flight, you are alone, and a stranger is sitting next to you. How much would you share? So that's how you start sharing. How you feel comfortable sharing with the strange, like with this strange. So then from there you grow. You feel more comfortable. You can start sharing more. I still, there's many things in my life, as much as I encourage other people to share, I'm not ready to share because of my kids, or because I still didn't find the place. Some things I share not safe place, and in different places you share different things. So that's how you have to find this village of different people, or different discussion subjects that you can share.
I absolutely love that. This is something that I was thinking as we were having this conversation. How much do you share with people? Because we can definitely get in trouble for sharing the wrong information with the wrong people. Okay, so we are talking about telling our truth, sharing our story, connecting with other people, influencing other people, which is fantastic. But we do want to be careful who we share this information with and how much we share. So I love the idea of the airplane, like what would you tell a stranger? And then you go from there. And I think after that, it's about building trust with other people, and it's also about building trust with yourself. So, for me, for example, I share my story with the world, it's part of my work, but I understand that if someone were to take something that I say and use it against me, I trust myself that I'm going to be okay. That whatever I've shared with that person isn't going to hurt me if they choose to use it against me. Because this is something we have to be a little bit aware of. Yes, you want to connect. Yes, you want to share your story. You want to feel that you're not alone and that the other people are not alone. You want to create your community, all those things that we said. But I would say when it comes to how much do you share with specific people, I would base that on a trust basis, meaning that you trust this person is not going to use that information in a bad way. And you also trust that if they do, you are going to be okay. So that's my advice about how much to share. For those of you who have just popped in, my name is Riley. I am an expert love educator and relationship coach here on Peanut. I'm one of the amazing professionals here. I've been on Peanut for over a year now. Absolutely love supporting the community. And today we are speaking to the beautiful Simone about sharing your story. And Peanut is a wonderful place to do that because it's full of all types of women, all types of mom, all over the world with so many different experiences, so many different backgrounds. And when you come together and you create community and you share and you support, it really does change people's lives. So I absolutely love being on Peanut and being a part of this community. Before we go to the next thing, I just want to say if anyone has any questions for myself or Simone, you can go ahead and either send us a message while we're in the pod, or we will take a 5-second break. If anyone wants to ask any questions out loud, that's also an option. If you ask a question by sending a message in the pod, it will remain anonymous. I know sometimes coming on here, people, are not ready to share. So if you send us a message while we're in the pod, we will answer it out loud, but we will keep you anonymous. Okay, so that's also an option if you have any questions. Okay, Simone, so I want to ask you, for you personally, what was what was the impact that sharing your story and telling your truth had on your life? Because I know for me, as I said before, I was abandoned, I was neglected, I was abused, I went through a lot of trauma, I was assaulted. There were a lot of things that happened to me as a child. The only people that I would tell growing up were my partners. So when I had a partner, not even in high school, but my first partner in college, I told them, and that was kind of the first time that I actually shared everything that happened to me. And after that, I was so ashamed of where I came from, and I was so ashamed of the experiences that I went through that I didn't tell anyone else. And so once I went through my transformation of self healing and learning and growing, and I went on this self love journey, that's when I started to share my story with the world. And for me, it gave me so much release because I felt like I was keeping that in for so long. And it's really interesting because even here on Peanut or on other platforms, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Um, when people don't know my story, they think that I had this like amazing life, an amazing childhood. They're like, I see you and you're always laughing and you're so happy. And then I share what happened to me and they're like, oh, I had no idea. Right. And so for me, it's such a breath of fresh air to be able to own the experiences that I've gone through. And not only own them in a way of this is what happened to me, but own the transformation. And for me, it's so important, especially in my work, to inspire other people, to empathize with other people and say, hey, look, I've been there, I've gone through that, right? So, what impact has sharing your story had on your personal life?
I when I started talking, like it's interesting. There's something that just recently is happening or happened because when I first experienced that story that I said, when I connected someone and I understood what happened with me with the ectopic pregnancy, it was just like, okay, this is, I moved on and I buried it. And then when I started later, when I became a mom and I started connecting more with moms, I was like, well, that wasn't just happened. I have a close death experience. I had a child like birth loss. I am a mom that I had three pregnancies, but I have two babies. And like having this understanding because you end up bearing this stuff when you don't talk about it, when you don't share. So you bring a peace in a way that you didn't know you needed. And then recently I was like just talking to someone about that. I was like, wow, I'm a survivor of a close death experience because I went to the hospital with abdominal pain, was not knowing what was happening, and I ended up going into an urgent surgery. I was like, you have to go now. I was like, can we not do anything else? No, you don't understand. If you don't do the surgery now, you might die. I was like, whoa. And then there was like something that I just kind of, okay, I went through that and buried it. But like, no, I survived an ectopic pregnancy. That is something that kills most women even in the modern world. That's how like early scanning is so important. And then I just recently shared this story in public and I start connecting on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. So many stories similar and many saying that same thing happened to them. Some was like in a like lighter way they were able to prevent before, but what that's called for, early scanning. You know you're pregnant, you miss a period, go check on the doctor, go to your OBGYN, but have checked because we don't know what's happening inside of our body. So having shared that brought me a peace that I didn't know I needed, and an understanding of what I went through. So that's really important. And on the other personal level that I went through and I'm going through now, and then it's important to share. And you mentioned that too, that in the beginning you will share with a close group of friends because you have to know what you can share with whom you can share. Some people, they're not the right people for you to share your story. And when you share with the right people, you're gonna get the right feedback. Also, I felt that it's really important for us sometimes to share from a point that I learned this line from Brene Brown. Share from a point of healing, not pain. Because when you share from the pain point of view, you were on a different situation. Maybe you need to share when you just have the pain, but once you can talk of the situation and look from the outside, that's when you create that connection because you see, okay, somebody else can learn from what I'm sharing. Because think about what you learn from somebody else's story. So that's the same experience you give it to someone else. So that's how I felt when I started sharing. Because that brought me freedom, brought me peace that I didn't have before. I didn't know I needed. That's something that interesting. I didn't know I needed that until I start sharing it.
Mm, I love that. I love that. And for me, I have to say there was definitely some backlash to me sharing, and there may be. Um, as wonderful as it is and as connective as it is, there may be a little bit of repercussions for telling your truth. My family, for example, some members of my family were not happy that I explained what happened to me because they wanted to keep it, a family secret, and they didn't want me sharing it all over the internet. Um, and that was a choice that I had to make because for me, this was my experience. It was what happened to me. It was the truth. I didn't make anything up. Um, it was an experience that happened to me. And so therefore it is my story. But as I said before, you have to trust who you share with. You have to trust what you're sharing, and you have to trust yourself that if there is any kind of backlash, that you will be okay. Um, so I absolutely love everything that you said. Simone, where can people find you?
I added here on my bio. That's the easiest way to find you connected. How I mostly more active on Instagram. I share on stories and a lot of posts. And I have our own channel where I'm sharing more of these stories that is called Mom is Not for Sale. That I created that before my daughter was born when I was going through like a lot of uh, personal experience. Like, is there so much pressure to be a mom? So if I start sharing stories, maybe somebody else need to hear that, or maybe I gonna be feel better if I start sharing these stories. It took me a long time to start, but at that point, by reading other people's stories, I start feeling this connection. So I created this account, this online channel that I share stories, and it's on YouTube too. That is Mom is Not for Sale, and you can find me everywhere as I am Simone Moni. It's the handle.
Yes, I love that. I am subscribed to your YouTube channel. I am. Yes, ladies, let's connect with Simone. Again, her Instagram is I am Simone Money. Can you spell that for everyone?
Yes, because I'm from Brazil and my name is Brazil. Is instead of Simone, is Simone. So I and everybody call me Moni. Simone.
Beautiful, beautiful, fantastic. Well, it's been such a pleasure having you on here. Ladies, Simone is in my network. We have done networking together. She's part of the Empowered Mama platform. She's just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. This woman has such a truth and a heart, and a passion for people, which is something so beautiful to see. Honestly, you're such an authentic soul. And it's been such a pleasure having you here. And thank you for sharing part of your story. And I haven't gone through that myself. I haven't been pregnant. Um, which is really interesting because I'm on this amazing app about moms, but my time hasn't come yet. And to share such a vulnerable experience with even just us here is so admirable. So thank you so much for being honest, and allowing women to hear what you've gone through. And again, even if just one person has gone through that, you touched them today, and that's such a beautiful, powerful tool that sharing your story has. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Riley. And thank you, everyone, for being here and listening to me. Thanks.
Yes. Is there any words of wisdom you would like to leave our audience with today?
I really want to share and emphasize what I just shared here today. When we think about our story, we need to take ourselves a little bit back and not just think about us, not just think about what we live in, and think about how can we impact at least the way you just said it, Riley, and that's my word with moms to share a story. How can we impact and connect with one person with what we're sharing? Because what we share might make a whole difference on this person's life. And I know that by experience. So have that as a courage for you to share something today or to reply to someone's story that you saw. Tell them something that you can experience and you can share. So start that connection and know that you're gonna make a difference on this person's life. At least one person is gonna, feel the difference by what you're sharing.
Words of wisdom. I love it. All right, ladies, thank you so much. And I hope you have the most amazing day.